You ever look around at the world and see these huge, complicated problems, things like poverty or injustice, and just wonder, how do we even begin to fix that? It's a massive question, right? Well, today we're going to explore two really powerful answers. Okay, let's dive in. Think about the issues right in your own backyard. Maybe there's a lack of affordable housing, or getting good health care is a struggle. These aren't just one person's bad luck. They're big, systemic challenges. So where do you start? Well, that exact question is the jumping off point for two fascinating fields: macro social work and community development.
Now, before we start pulling them apart to see what makes them different, you've got to understand this. They are both built on the exact same foundation. They come from the same place, they share a core philosophy, and at the end of the day, they're chasing the same goal. And that shared foundation, it's all built on this really key idea called the person and environment perspective. All that means is that you can't truly understand or help a person in isolation. You have to see them within the world they live in, their neighborhood, their economic situation, all the systems that impact their life every single day.
So, with that big idea in mind, it makes sense that both of these fields are working towards the same ambitious stuff. They're trying to spark real, lasting social change. They're fighting to promote social justice. And they're not just putting a Band-Aid on things. They're trying to enhance the well-being of whole communities by tackling those tough, systemic issues head on. They really are just two different paths to the same destination.
All right, let's walk down the first path. We're going to look at how macro social work comes at these problems by taking a huge step back to see the entire landscape. The best way to think about macro social work is to imagine it's using a wide-angle lens on a camera. Instead of focusing on just one person, it pulls way back to see the whole system. The goal here isn't one-on-one therapy. It's about changing the rules of the game itself. We're talking about reforming policies, making big organizations work better for people, and shifting the very structures that cause the problems in the first place. Okay, so if that was the wide-angle view, let's switch gears. Let's see what happens when we use a different kind of lens and zoom right in on the action. And that brings us to community development. This is the zoom lens. It hones in on a specific neighborhood or maybe a group of people who share a common interest. The focus here is way more direct, way more hands-on. It's all about working with the residents, not for them, to build power and create change from the ground up. And look at what this looks like in practice. It's so action-oriented. We're talking about things like participative democracy, actually getting people a seat at the table for decisions that affect their lives. It's about building sustainable, long-term solutions, creating real economic opportunities, and empowering people through education. This is change that's owned and driven by the community itself. Okay, so let's put this side by side, because this is where it all clicks. Macro social work has that broad, systemic focus, the wide-angle lens, and its main tools are things like policy change and managing big organizations. Community development, on the other hand, zooms in on a specific community, and its tools are direct participation and empowerment. One is kind of working top-down, from the outside in. The other is building from the bottom up, from the inside out. But here is the most important thing to get from all of this. These two approaches are not rivals. Not at all. In fact, they're at their most powerful when they work together. You see, for real lasting change to happen, you absolutely need both the wide-angle lens and the zoom lens. And this example just illustrates it perfectly. So imagine a social worker who is helping a child who's being neglected. That one-on-one help is critical, right? That's the micro view. But if they dig a little deeper, they might find the root cause is actually a macro problem. A citywide crisis of unsafe, unaffordable housing is putting that family under unbearable stress. You see, you can't fix one without fixing the other. The only real solution is to help the child and fight for better housing policy for everyone. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? The idea that you simply cannot separate an individual's well-being from the health of their community and the fairness of the systems we all live in. Seeing that connection, well, that's the absolute heart of doing this work effectively. So there's actually a formal term for this relationship. It's called a cognate discipline. The easiest way to think about it is like this. Macro social work and community development are close cousins. They come from the same family, they share the same core values, but they've got their own unique skills and personalities. They're distinct for sure, but they are always at their strongest when they're working together. So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Take a look at your own community. What are the biggest challenges that you see? Do they need that wide-angle lens to change a big policy? Or do they need that zoom lens to empower people on a specific block? Or maybe they need both. The real question is, who's going to be the one to pick up that lens and get to work?